Welcome, everyone. This is Chris from Docketwise, and I'm glad that you were able to attend our webinar on our new features roundup for October of 2021. In the past few months, we've been hard at work and introduced several new features, leaving us with quite a lot of ground to cover. If you would like to learn more about any specific feature, please, of course, just feel free to reach out and or visit our help center for any additional information, which will also be linked in the description of this video if you are watching the recording on YouTube. So in this webinar, we'll be covering, as I mentioned, our most recent features, which include the custom dashboard, a new firm logo upload workflow, and also improved rendering, the Outlook email add-in, improved time tracking and billing by time, invoice upgrades such as date fields for charges and billed time entries, saved charges, automatic late fees, automatic due dates, associating payments with specific charges, global invoice numbering, exporting notes for contacts and matters, archiving contacts, expanded permission settings, group chats, and 2 new reports as well. So let's get started with the custom dashboard while we're already here. With the customized dashboard, you are able to see everything most relevant to you on your Docketwise account at a glance. So Docketwise's custom dashboard allows you to choose what information you would like to have displayed, which is accomplished by either displaying or hiding an information box by checking the box in the Edit Dashboard settings. And you can also choose where you want the information box to be displayed, which is accomplished by dragging and dropping the information box or snapshot into the order that works best for you. So I just want to note that the dashboard preferences are completely personalized and unique to you and will not affect the display of your teammates' dashboards. So now we'll get on to the demonstration of this part, and we're already at the dashboard. And just to enable other snapshots or information boxes, I will click the Edit Dashboard drop-down menu right here. So here we have the list of all snapshots that are available. I'll just specify everything. So form invitations, of course, we'll do events as well. And let's do billing also. So the way I want to have this is actually just a little different. So we'll need to drag and drop things into place. And let's start with that. So I'd like to have upcoming events in the top corner here, followed by tasks. So then I'll just drag and drop here. I can drag by clicking in these 3 bars right here, or just any blank space as well. Next, of course, I'd like to put billing in this top corner, followed by contacts, matters, and notes. So we just need to move notes up here. And then I'll have forms and form invitations. So this is perfect. And we have our custom dashboard all good to go with the most up-to-date information about the occurrences to our assigned resources. So let's move on to our next topic regarding the firm logo of Docketwise. We have implemented a new workflow for uploading the firm's logo, as well as improved its rendering and appearances on invoices, email notifications, invitations, as well as the nav bar of the Docketwise dashboard, which we can see will be right here once I upload a logo. Actually, let's jump into the logo upload workflow first. So to get there, we'll go to settings, and then we'll click on logo right here. And the new logo upload workflow allows you to more easily upload your logo and crop it to the more precise dimensions for in which it will be displayed. So let's jump into this example. Here we can see the box. I can either click here to choose a file, or I can just drag and drop a file from a folder I already have open. So I'll just do that here. There we go. So I have my logo here now. And if I want to change its position or anything, I can just simply drag and drop it. And I can also change the zoom. So I'll show you the dragging and dropping if I want to reposition anything first. And just to note, this box is approximately 5 by 1. It's approximately 5 width and 1 height in dimensions. So if I want to change this positioning, I can just drag it however I see fit. If I want to change the zoom or change the size, I can scroll down to make it smaller or up to make it bigger. So we'll find what works best for us. I'm liking this, so I'll stick with this and click the Save Changes button. So now you can see here that we have our new firm logo uploaded to our account. Now let's move on to our next feature, the Outlook add-in. Docketwise integrates with Outlook so that you can send emails and attachments directly from Outlook into Docketwise. With this integration, you can save these messages and attachments directly to a contact and matter within Docketwise. The integration will work with both the web app and the desktop version of Outlook. But for this example, I'll just be using the web app version. So first, I'll, of course, open up my Outlook. And here, I'll click on this little Docketwise logo I see with the message I have opened. So I'll click this. And then here, you can see that it automatically finds the contact associated with the sender's email in Docketwise. If I want to search for another contact, I can do that, of course, as well. But I will be saving it to this contact that it automatically linked it with. So to save the message or to save the email, I will just simply click Save Email. And to save the attachments or the files, I'll just click on Save Attachments. There we go. All right, so now that I have saved the email and attachment in Docketwise, I can actually see them in Docketwise related to the contact and matter. So just to jump over and see how that looks, we'll go to Messages first. And here we can see the email that was just imported into Docketwise through the add-in with Outlook. And then also the attachments will be saved as files. So here we can also see the file that was also uploaded, and it is, of course, also related with the contact and the matter as well. So let's head over to the matter, actually, just check it out there as well. And here we'll go to files. We can see that the attachment that she sent on her email is now in her files category. And we can also see in the messages category that we have her message here as well. Next, we're going to go over time tracking and billing by time. First, we made an improvement for our time tracking and billing by time by adding a field for the date on which the work was performed for the time entry, which will also be displayed on invoices to which they're imported or billed for. So this date field will be entered when making a new time entry and can also be edited in case you need to change the date of a time entry or add time entries that were not already entered in or recorded into Docketwise. So first, let's start out by creating a new time entry for the case that we're currently working on. To do this, I could either click the play button to record my time, or I could just click these three dots to manually record a time entry, which I will be doing here. So let's say new time entry. It took me, let's say, 0.8 hours. This was recorded yesterday, or done yesterday, and we will say travel to post office. This was for our client, Beth Smith, and we'll assign this to her matter as well. So after making the time entry, let's say we're ready to bill our client for all the time that was spent preparing their case. So I will go ahead and create a new invoice. That would be for Beth Smith. And of course, I'll be choosing her matter. So I had already created some time entries before, which I'll be importing into this. But in order to import these time entries, I will just go to the Invoice Charges tab. And I will go to time entries. Here, I'll just, of course, click the checkbox for all of the time entries that I would like to bill for or include in this invoice. So here we can see that all of the charges, or sorry, all of the time entries have been added as charges. And we also have the date in which that work was performed, as well as the corresponding dollar amount and the description for what type of work was performed. So in order to close this invoice out, let's of course just record a payment. We're going to go here, record a payment. I'll just do a trust transfer for this one. And that was from the matter level. So we'll just do this and finalize. So now that we have that invoice payment recorded, we can close out this invoice. And as we just went over, time entries, of course, can be imported into invoices and have the dates appear on the invoice. We also have added a date field for the charges that are added to invoices as well. So I'll go ahead and create a new invoice for that. Let's say I'll make one for my contact Hermes. And here we'll just add simple attorney's fees and ordinary costs. All right, and as you see here, we actually do have a date field now appearing, which will also be input into the invoice automatically. So that it's clear on the invoice when this charge is being made. Now, let's get on to our next topic, which is actually for the saved charges feature. So with saved charges, you can now easily save commonly used flat rate charges for services and expenses that can then be imported into an invoice with just the click of a button. So in order to demonstrate, let's go ahead and make a new saved charge. So in order to do that, I'll click on the settings button right here and then click on invoice settings. Here, I'll just click on the create saved charges button. And as you can see, I already have some saved charges here made. But let's say for this new case, I want to make one for, let's say, naturalization based on 5-year lawful permanent resident status. So naturalization 5-year PR. And let's say for the flat rate, we'll do 3,500, which is the normal cost we'll be covering for this type of service. So we'll go ahead and click the save charge button. And we now have this saved charge. So now that we have our saved charges made, let's go ahead and import them to an invoice. I'm going to go ahead and create a different one for Hermes, just showing you how it can be done this way. So go ahead, create a new invoice. And we'll of course do the same thing, same matter. And instead of manually adding those charges as I did last time, let's say I want to go to save charges, I'll click this button. And everything that I want to import, I'll just simply do it this way. So consultation we're going to be doing, and then also naturalization based on 5-year LPR, as well as ordinary costs. So once I have the boxes checked that I have already selected, I'll just go ahead and click on the import charges button. So after importing the saved charges, they will automatically appear on the invoice and under the Invoices charge tab, as you can see here, or I can edit them or make any changes if necessary. So let's say that our client has already paid a part of the invoice and we want to record a payment and associate that somehow with a specific charge. How could we do that? So let's say that Hermes has already paid his $150 for the consultation and we want that to be reflected under the specific charge. So with our next new feature, you are able to associate payments made on invoices with a specific charge on the corresponding invoice. This can be done either while recording a payment or after the payment has already been recorded. So once a payment has been associated with a charge, an entry will be made under the invoice charge detailing the payment date and payment amount as well. So let's say that this client, as I just mentioned, he has already paid the $150 for his consultation, and we want it to be notated in the invoice that the $150 went specifically towards the consultation. So I'll record that $150 payment. Let's say it was made on the 21st for $150. Now, this last option we have here, associate invoice charge, we will choose consultation in order to associate this specific payment with that charge. So let's go ahead, save payment. We can see at the bottom, of course, that the $150 has been paid. It's gone towards the balance of the invoice. And then also here under the charge for consultation, we see payment made on 10/21/2021 for $150. So next, let's say we have an invoice where we already received a payment and we would like to associate that payment with a specific charge. We can also do that as well. So I'll jump over to an invoice that I have already created and received a couple of payments just to demonstrate how that will be done as well. So I will find my invoice for Amy Wong right here, and we can open up this invoice. So you can see that she's already made 2 payments, one on 10/27 and one on 10/26 in the amount of $2,000 each. But we want to be able to associate that this is going towards the attorney's fees. So in order to associate a payment that's already been made, we'll just click the pencil icon next to the payment. And we'll go ahead and just choose which fee or charge it's going towards. So I'll choose attorney's fees and save that and do the same thing for the other payments. So here you can see both payments for $2,000 are now being associated with the attorney's fees charge for $4,500. And we of course have an outstanding balance still. So now what if we want to automatically add a late fee to an invoice if it remains outstanding? As we can see in this case, the due date was yesterday and it is now considered late, of course. So what if we want to automatically include late fees to an invoice? With our new feature for automatic late fees, you can do just that. With automatic late fees, you can apply late fees to invoices. You can automatically apply recurring late fees to invoices and choose whether to charge a flat rate or a percentage of the outstanding balance for that late fee. So in this invoice, as you can see, I had already indicated some settings here. For the option of enabling it, I of course had it turned on and selected a fixed fee of $150. So when the option isn't able to automatically have the late fee or interest, these late fees are automatically applied to the invoice that is considered to be late. And I'd like to note that an invoice is considered to be late if the invoice's balance is not fully paid by the time of the due date indicated in the invoice. Now here we also have the options for choosing let's say the amount or how we'd like to charge or assess that late fee. We have fixed fee and also percent interest. So percent interest will, as I mentioned, just be assessing a percent of the outstanding balance and adding that when the late fee is added. And finally, we have the option for recurring late fees. So when this option is enabled, you can set a frequency in days for how often recurring late fees should be added if the invoice remains in a late status. And also, I'd like to note that recurring late fees will continue to be added until the invoice's balance is paid or the option is manually disabled within the invoice. So you can also see that in this particular invoice that the late fee has already been assessed. You can see it here in the bottom under total. We can see late fee on 10/28 for $150 as I had indicated here. I can indicate automatic late fees on an individual invoice as I have done here, but I can also set this option under my firm's default invoice settings. So I'll head over to my firm's default invoice settings. And here in my firm's default invoice settings, you will see that I have the same option available for setting automatic late fees. So right here, we have that option. In order to enable it, we will just check that box. And let's actually set up automatic late fees for my firm. Let's say it will just be $150 flat fee when they are late. And we'll also check the box for recurring late fees, which will be also added every, let's say 30 days. So any changes that I make in my firm's default invoice settings will be reflected on all invoices created thereafter. However, I can always make a specific change on an individual or specific invoice if necessary. Next, we have a new feature for setting automatic due dates on invoices. So with automatic invoice due dates, you can choose what the due date of the invoices will be when they are created automatically. You can choose the 15th of the month, you can choose the end of the month, or you could choose the first or the 15th or the last of the month, whichever comes first. So let's say that I want a due date of all invoices to be on either the 15th or the last of the month, just whichever comes first. So I will set that option here, automatically set invoice due dates. So I'll choose the option for 15th or last, whichever comes first. And now for all invoices that I create, they will either have a due date of the 15th or the last day of the month, whichever comes first. In addition, we have also added a new feature for global invoice numbering. Here in my invoice settings, you can see that I already have it enabled. and that it is set up to increment from 22. When enabled, global invoice numbering will cause the invoice number to increment on each subsequent invoice across all firm invoices. And on the other hand, when it is disabled, invoice numbering will increment up on a per client basis. So I'll keep the preference I have with global invoicing enabled, and I'll just save these changes to make sure everything goes through. So now we're just going to create a new invoice just to demonstrate how this will appear with the new change that I've made in my firm's default invoice settings. So we'll just choose a client, let's say Joel Embiid, and we'll create an invoice for him. Automatically, we're taken to the invoice settings, so we can see that we have an automatic late fee to be assessed for $150. It is recurring and will happen every 30 days. So next, we're going to move on to our new feature for exporting notes. So let me just get to the dashboard. So you can now easily export notes pertaining to a specific contact or matter to a PDF document in Docketwise. So let's get to a matter that we've, let's say, already filed that already has some notes filled out, just so I can demonstrate this. So I'll open up my matter for Morty Smith, and just within his matter, I'll go to the notes section. So here you'll see the button for export, and all I have to do is click that, and it will export his notes to a PDF document. So we're just downloading that document right now, and we can go ahead, click it, open it up. And this is how his notes will be appearing in the PDF document of his exported notes. So now let's move on to a new feature for archiving contacts. So in addition to the ability of archiving matters, which we had before, we have added the ability to archive contacts as well. So archiving contacts enables you to hide contacts that are no longer relevant without deleting them from Docketwise or deleting their records from Docketwise. So let's say that we'd like to archive a few contacts for which they have already had a decision rendered on their case, and we just want to keep it organized. So I'll go ahead and just archive these three. So in order to do that, I just check the three boxes. From there, I'll click on More Actions and click on the option to archive contacts. Awesome. In addition to this, we have also added additional permission settings that accounts, admins, and owners can indicate for other firm members. So we have added 2 additional global permission settings, and let's head over to settings and then user access to check these out. So in order to see these and edit these, we'll just click on the 3 dots and click Edit User. And here we can see the global permissions. So the 2 ones that we have added, we had before cannot delete, cannot export. We have added the options for cannot archive records on the firm's account and also cannot reassign records to the firm's account. This will, of course, be for archiving any records such as a contact or matter. When this is selected, that cannot be done by that specific user. And then also when this is selected, they are not able to reassign anything such as a file, forms, matter, contact, etc. So I'll go ahead and save these specific permissions to this user, and we are good to go. So next, we have also added a new feature in our internal Docketwise chat. In our internal Docketwise chat, we have added the ability to create group chats, making it easier for everyone to stay in touch and in the loop. So here, let's say that I want to make a group chat just for the litigation team and myself. I'll go ahead and do that. In order to create a group, you just click the Create Group button. Here, we'll click on the plus icon for each member we would like to add. It's myself, Oscar, and Eliana, and I will enter in a subject or a title of the group. So this will be litigation. Let's just say Team 1, and I'll create this group. So I'll just also send a message. Please make sure to call the 1-800 number for each case. Assigned and NTA at the beginning of each week. All right, good to go. And in order to send a message, I could just click the send or hit enter on the keyboard. And last but not least, we have also added 2 new reports as well. So I'll just go back to the dashboard right here and then click on Create New Reports. The 2 new reports that we have added are a form invitation report, as well as a report for invoice charges over time. Let's start out with the form invitations report. So in order to get there, we'll just click on Contact Reports and Form Invitation Reports. So for the form invitation report, I am able to get a report of all the form invitations sent out by members of my firm. And on each entry, I have information about the contact, the smart form, the sender, type, email, and status as well. So I'm also able to filter by the status of the invitation as well as the date created. So let's say I want to see all forms that were sent back for review, and I want to see that within, let's say, the past 3 months, just to see if I'm missing anything. And then I'll go ahead and update those preferences, and I can see, of course, there are forms that I still need to review that are not yet completed. So now let's move on to our next report for charges over time. We can find this under Invoice Reports, and in order to access it, I'll just click on Invoice Charges Over Time. So with the Charges Over Time report, you are able to create a report on all charges in Invoices, as well as have the information on the description of the charge, the amount of the charge, the type of the charge, which will be either a service or expense, as well as the invoice number, the client associated, and the date of that charge as well. So we can also filter by the date created and the type of the invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I want to filter just expenses that I had billed since July, so the past 4 months or so. I'll click on expense for type, and here I'll click on custom. So let's say July 1st through October, today's date, let's do. Here, I'll just click update, and we can see all the expenses that have been included on invoices over that time period that I had indicated. And we are ready to wrap up our new Features Roundup webinar. I'd like to thank everyone again for watching our new Features Roundup, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I hope to see you there. Thank you.